Hey guys, welcome along to a brand new week of Double Tap and some big news to kick it all off from HumanWare.
Ooh. This is Double Tap, where blind people talk tech. Here's Stephen Scott and Shaun Preece.
Oh, happy new week, Shaun Preece. How are you?
Happy Monday to you, sir. That's 2 rolling of the R's already. I'm in it. That's great.
We are ready to rock and roll.
Oh, you didn't roll your...
Oh, sorry. Rock and roll.
Oh, there beautiful.
There we go. So how was your weekend?
Yeah, it was all right. How was yours?
It went by so quick. I can't even remember.
Time.
I did
fleeting.
spend an awful lot of time watching various Netflix, Amazon Prime movies, and then spent a lot of time telling you about them.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, I've got some good recommendations anyway. I spent some time rearranging the studio.
Oh, no, bad idea.
Yes. To wit, I've got rid of my monitor because it's absolutely pointless to have it other than a stand for my camera.
Yeah.
So I have no monitor in front of me, yet I still find myself searching for the dim glow of a monitor in front of me, and I have no idea where my camera is right now, so I don't know where I'm looking. But aside from that, I think it was a total success.
Well, listen, I think I am inspiring the blind community to buy monitors.
Yes.
I think that's a thing. Because I recently bought myself a monitor. It wasn't a Black Friday sale, but it was one of those things that sometimes you get a price deal. So like Dell were doing this monitor that I was looking at. Now, don't laugh at me. Don't laugh
Stephen.
at me. Now, hang on.
Because you're a fool, yeah.
It had a webcam, and it had speakers, and it had the USB-C connectivity. And also, you can connect it to a computer with one of those downstream USB cables, and also an HDMI, so you could hook up, say, a desktop and a laptop at once and switch between them, etc.
Standard for every display out there, yeah.
No, this one had more. It had USB ports in it. It had its own Ethernet port in it as well. So you can plug everything in like a dock, basically. That's what I was looking for. I was looking for a dock, you see.
Why didn't you buy a dock?
That would make too much sense. So, no, I like the idea of hooking up a couple of computers on the desk at once, sharing resources. You know, like Dr. Hook once said, sharing devices together.
No,
thing.
Don't know that one
absolutely
before my
certain
time.
that is what he said.
Stephen?
Yes.
I will remind you, you are blind.
I know,
right?
I know, but I'm not buying it for the screen.
Blind, Stephen Scott.
But
blind.
not for the screen.
Do you know what that word means?
Although, actually...
Non-visual.
Hang on. Actually, here's the thing. So we faced a little issue this morning before we started the show, which kind of proves the point that you kind of do need something connected to your computer, be it an HDMI dummy or be it a monitor or whatever, right? You got to have something connected. We'll talk about that in a minute. But anyway, I saw this and it was in pounds, UK pounds, it was something like £300 from Dell. And I went onto Amazon and they were doing it for £196. And I was like, that's an absolute bargain. I
or
don't need
a webcam/dock.
Yeah, I mean, don't really
because
need
the
it.
screen matters not one jot. The webcam is always awful when it's built into the display.
No, this one. No, there's loads of cool things about this monitor. So let me get this right. It's the Dell P2424 HEB. Catchy.
Yeah, look, I'm sure it's an amazing display monitor.
But I don't know about the monitor because I don't care about that. But it's got the hub features. It's got the USBs. It's got the Ethernet. It's got the webcam. It's got the speakers, and it's got an AI-powered webcam in it.
Yes, which means it'll follow you around.
Follows you around the room. It's also got.
How often do you move?
Hang on. It's also got Windows Hello capability in there. It added that functionality into the computer that didn't have it before. Because I'm connecting up a big desktop computer, right? Not my little Geekom one. There's a story there. But back to using my big tower machine that I've had for long enough. And I know you think to yourself, here we go again. Stephen is yet again buying things he doesn't need to connect to things he'll probably not use in a few weeks' time.
Yes. Exactly right. Ting.
But you know what? People like hearing about it, so I thought I'd share. We spend a lot of time watching TikTok, and all I ever hear is, I know you're not really interested in this, but watch it anyway. That's basically TikTok in a nutshell.
Let me just say this, okay? A webcam with Windows Hello functionality, which is, for people that don't know, is face recognition.
Fish recognition. Fish
recognizes
recognition.
your fish.
You hold up your fish and it says, oh, there's a salmon. Beautiful. I'll let you in.
Just like Face ID on your iPhone. So, yes, you can log into your computer just by sitting in front of it, basically.
Yeah. So you have your PIN, and obviously you have to set up Windows, although I haven't done that yet. I mean, there's no time to do anything.
Scanner, it could be anything.
But that's quite cool because you sit down at the computer, you hit the key. You can lock your computer if you've got, other people in the house. You want to keep your computer, or different accounts are logging in.
Secret.
Well, I think I could be wrong in this because I've never used this function, but
Shifty.
I think if you sit down in front of the computer, say you've got two accounts, say you and your wife or you and your partner have got an account, whoever sits down in front of it will log into the correct account. Is that right?
That is true.
That's pretty nice.
It is nice. Yes, it is very good. And also available on a, let's say, $50 webcam.
It's, not connected to, a thing that sits there. And you've got to think about how that
you can't see, Stephen Scott.
But then you've got to buy a webcam holder, and you've got to get the camera in the right position.
A webcam
and all
holder.
This. Whereas, the monitor has it built in, sitting right there.
So is that what we're saying? Now, a monitor is now just a tripod for a webcam.
Yes, that's exactly right.
How much are tripods, Stephen Scott?
They're about £100 at least. Absolute least.
Okay, you are ridiculous, but well done. You've bought something in the deals. Well done.
Yeah, I got one in the deal, and I do like it because it's like we had issue this morning with one of the apps. Now we both have the Link 360 camera, which is one of those AI cameras, very good webcam, not the most accessible software, and even less accessible when you don't have a monitor attached to your computer, as we found.
Who knew? Yeah, okay. So was trying to adjust it and frame me up, which you do using the Insta 360 app, and it was working the first time we tried it, and then I did something which caused it to just not respond whatsoever.
Yeah, you threw your monitor in the bin.
Well, yes, but we tried it this morning without my monitor and it was fine. I closed the lid of my laptop. And as soon as it detected there was no screen, no visuals, the camera wouldn't respond at all.
Dreadful.
So, and you came up with the answer, Stephen Scott. I will give you all credit.
Thank you.
Said, open the lid. Open the lid.
There it came
back on.
Now, the only reason I would have thought of that is because that's exactly what happened to me a few years ago with WhatsApp. Same thing happened to me. Could not get the window to show up at all. And then it was when I added in an HDMI dummy on the back of the computer, basically tricking the computer into thinking I had a monitor attached. Then all of a sudden it worked. So, yeah, it's a weird thing.
So annoying. So I wouldn't have even thought of that. I uninstalled the drivers, reinstalled the drivers. I checked the cable, and it was just, open the lid of your laptop. But the annoying thing is I've got it set so that, closing the lid doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Because I don't need it open. I've got a Bluetooth keyboard attached to it. So I shut the laptop anyway. But no, that still didn't work. So annoying.
Yeah. But anyway, I like my new monitor. I'm very happy with it. And, I think I'm inspiring other blind people to buy monitors with webcams built in. I think this is a fantastic
that's a bad
idea.
Thing.
Why?
Do not listen to Stephen Scott on this topic. You do not
no
need
idea
it.
what you're talking about.
Okay, feedback at doubletaponair.com. Stephen is wrong.
That's our new topic of the week, is it? Right, look, let's get into our big story of the day. This is a huge story, actually, because we've been talking a lot about, the idea of an ideal scenario, which is that you have, say, something like a Mantis Q40, for example, that had a Windows computer built into it, right? How cool would that be? And HumanWare have for a long time had the Braille Note Touch. It's been out for a very long time. It runs Android, not Windows. What if you were to take the Mantis Q40 and you took the Braille Note Touch and you smashed them together in a fit of rage? Yes. And you brought together, well, actually, nothing would really be achieved there because you just end up with a Mantis inside a Braille Note Touch and still be running Android. Okay, so forget that. But let's imagine that we also smashed into that pile a Microsoft Windows installer USB stick. Then you would have...
This is torture.
I'm not selling this. I don't do marketing. But what HumanWare have come up with is a very cool device, which is all those things combined. Windows, a 32 Braille cell display initially with Perkins input. But I have many questions, and you got a chance to catch up with Andrew Flatres. They were showing this off at Site Village London for the very first time. You're going to see it in far more detail and also being released at CSUN next year. But we got the scoop on it, You got the chance to catch up with Andrew Flatres. Let's find out more about this cool new device from HumanWare.
HumanWare caused a bit of a buzz yesterday with the announcement of a new product. So give us the scoop. Tell us all about it.
Sure. Well, it's not a product that's out yet, but we decided to show a new product that we've actually been working on for the last 2 years. And it's called a Braille Note Evolve. So, do you want to know more about that?
Yes, please.
Right. Well, obviously you've heard we've had the Braille Note Touch Plus for many years. We've had a Braille Note Apex for many years. HumanWare's been involved with note takers for over 25 years, back on the Braille Note classic days. And we've gone from Windows CE to Android, and now we are gone to Windows 11 Pro.
Wow. Okay, that's quite a jump. Now, there's been quite a desire for a Windows note taker for a long time. So what made you evolve into Windows? Do you see what I did there?
Oh, I love that. That was great.
Thank you.
Yeah, good question. I mean, the first thing, we've had the Android environment for coming up to 10 years now. And when we look at the Android environment, it's very limited. I mean, Android environment has been designed for phones, and after about a couple of years or 3 years, you then tend to replace that phone. And that's really a big struggle for assistive technologies like HumanWare to keep up with that mainstream cycle. And so, therefore, we decided that we would jump to the Windows 11 Pro for that longevity, and that's really important for us and for our customers, because we understand that these products are expensive and we want them to last for a long period of time. Not only that, it's the kind of environment that we all work towards. When we look into employment, this is a platform that everyone tends to use, and again, that was a really important requirement from HumanWare side of things.
So obviously there was a lot of concern about the, as you mentioned there, longevity of the hardware itself. So what's the specs of the new Evolve?
I'm not going to give too much information away just yet, but I will tell you a couple of things. So firstly, it's 32 gigabyte of RAM, so that's pretty powerful enough in itself. We then have equivalent Ultra, it's an Intel Ultra processor. Which is equivalent to like an i5 processor. But to be honest, I actually use my Braille Note Evolve more than I do with my own i7 laptop. So yeah, 512 gigabyte of storage. In terms of the other hardware, we have 2 Bluetooth components in there, as we need to operate with a Braille terminal. So the idea is that you not only work with your inside of the device, but also with your iPhones and Android phones. And then we have 2 USB-C, which are Thunderbolts. Both can be used for charging. One also can be used to display video output. HDMI, Wi-Fi, all the kind of bells and whistles that you tend to get with a good standard laptop nowadays.
Okay, so if you could just explain the keyboard layout here.
Okay, so we have made some changes on the keyboard layout. Again, because it's a Windows environment, it's really important to have all the modifier keys. So what we have at the top left, we have the escape key. On the top right, we have a delete key. We then have our traditional 8-dot Perkins keyboard with a spacebar below. And then between our dots 1 and 4, we have our up, down, left, right arrows. Either side of the spacebar, this is where we have our modifier keys. And again, I mentioned that these will be disabled by default because you're starting up with KeySoft.
Yeah.
But once you enable these modifier keys, then you're free then to come out of your KeySoft kind of menus and go into your desktops and do all the wonderful, great things that you can do with the screen reader. So on the top left, we will have our Shift key. Bottom left is our Control. Bottom right is our Alt key. And then on the right side of the spacebar, the top one is our Insert key. And then bottom left of that is our Function key. And then the bottom right is the Windows key. Again, they can all be changed. And we know that not everyone wants to have that default layout.
Yeah.
So you can change those layouts as well. Then, of course, we have our 32-cell display with cursor routing keys. On the front edge, we then have the HumanWare signature thumb keys, and we then have a home button right in the middle. So very similar to our Brilliant BIX lines and our Mantis layouts on the front edge.
And I know Stephen's going to want to know this. Input, is it Perkins keys, Braille keys, or is it QWERTY?
So we'll be coming out first of all with a Braille input keyboard, and we will have 3 different flavors. So the first flavor will be a 32-cell display with a Braille input key. Second one will be a 20-cell with a Braille keyboard input key. And then lastly, and Stephen will love this one, it's a QWERTY keyboard, and that will be coming later in the year 2026.
Amazing. That sounds fantastic. Now, what about the software and the functionality? Is this going to be running your KeySoft software?
Exactly, and that was really important to us. When we've been designing note takers for over 20 years, what we know is that teachers, students, they do love that KeySoft aspect. And when you go into that Windows environment, we know that when you just put a screen reader on, it can be very overwhelming for the younger learners or new learners to that environment. So the way we've tackled this is that we have integrated some KeySoft functionality, and that's the idea. We want to allow the seamless kind of journey from going from a Braille note or even a Braille display that we have, go into a Braille Note Evolve that has that KeySoft flavor. So the idea is that you're loading KeySoft. The modifier keys, they will be disabled, again, because we don't want the younger learners to necessarily mess around with those buttons because they don't know what they will do.
Yeah.
And then gradually, as you then start evolving your learning journey towards college, university, and so forth, you'll then take in your own time, learn full screen reader usage.
Now, I'm a massive NVDA fan for my screen reader. Is NVDA supported on this, or is it Jules only? What's the screen reader story?
Okay, well, what we're doing differently here is we're not just putting a screen reader on and that's it. We obviously have a flavor of KeySoft. Now, to do that, we needed to have an accessibility framework, and we're now using the NVDA framework for that. So it's going to be KeySoft powered by NVDA, and we are adapting NVDA. So we are making some changes under the hood, which is great for the community, of course. There's things that we'll be able to push back into the open source, but there's also things that we can withhold as well. So it's powered by KeySoft with NVDA, a flavor of that. But then also, if you wanted to, you can install your own screen reader. If you want to install JAWS, that's perfectly fine. But out of the box, it will be KeySoft powered by NVDA.
Very cool. And you mentioned that the work you do on your version of NVDA, you push back into the open source community, so that could benefit NVDA users on a whole.
Exactly. I mean, obviously, following the open source regulations, that's something that we have to, and we're more than happy to do. That's fantastic for the community. And of course, there's also things that we want to need to keep for ourselves, to protect obviously the Braille note side of things. But most of the stuff that we are doing, they will be all pushed into NVDA. Whether that gets pushed by NVDA is another thing, of course.
Yeah.
But of course, we have to with the regulations, and we're happy to do so.
So I'm interested, is this the platform of choice now for note takers in the future? Is Windows the way to go? Are you leaving Android behind, or Windows CE, obviously a long time ago, but is it Windows all the way?
From firmware side of things, yeah. I mean, we've been with the Android environment for many years, not just on blindness products, but also with low vision products, and it just really is not feasible. Not only just is that limitation there, it becomes very difficult to develop on that, and the longevity that we was talking about previously. You're then kind of talking more of a 3-year cycle as opposed to over a 5-year cycle. And again, that's also a challenge. So all the way from HumanWare side of things, we will be looking towards Windows for sure.
Fantastic. I know a lot of people are going to be happy about it. And with the KeySoft software on there as well, there's not going to be that huge shock of, oh no, I need to learn completely new system. And so people transitioning will be familiar with the functions anyway, right?
Exactly. And, we showed it yesterday, and there was a lot of teachers that came up that were very surprised that we had a new device come in, and they were able to control it straight away. And I said, well, you know how to use it. And because they know how to use the Braille Note Touch, they're easily able to transition over to the new Braille Note Evolve. But of course there'll be some differences which will be hard to manage, because we're going from one Android platform to a Windows platform. That's a different beast in itself, as you know. Yeah. But we are trying to mimic the KeySoft functionality through the menu navigations, but also through applications like Word and Outlook. We won't have our own necessary applications like Word, a keyword document and things like that. We will have or utilize the Office 365 package, where we have add-ons to make it more productive.
Amazing. Now, I know lots of people are going to be excited by this and want to get hands-on. So do we have a release date?
Well, you know me, I don't like to give specific dates. I will tell you that it's coming out early 2026. We'll have some more information about it on our website in the next few days, and there'll be a link that you can register your interest if you want to be the first to know of when it comes out. And next year, possibly HUI in season, you can probably get to look at it as well.
Perfect. Yeah, I've got hands on. I've got to say, it's a very sleek device. It's very nice indeed.
That was one of the biggest requirements, is trying to make a Windows note taker slim, portable, and lightweight. That was the big requirements, and the team's done fantastic, I have to say. You know, when we looked at all the specifications, and when we looked at, let's say, previous note takers, you know, because we're not the first to go into Windows environment,
no.
And I'm sure we won't be the last, but it's always been a challenge to get a full Windows kind of specifications into a small portable note taker.
Interesting, you went Windows 11 Pro as well. Was there a reason for going professional?
I just think you can do a lot more stuff there on the Pro. You know, I think when we look at the employment side, there's always that need to go as a professional environment rather than a home environment.
Yeah.
You know, we have tried to be, well, we tried to work with Microsoft, and we've got some good contacts there. Tried. You know, and we're still trying. I mean, there's still, in terms of the development, there's some hurdles that we're facing, but you know, I'm sure we'll get past it. But yeah, it's a new environment that the team is also working on, because they're so used to Android. But from what they've done at the moment, and it's at the alpha stage of software, I'm really happy with how things are, and the feedback that we've been receiving yesterday and hopefully today has been fantastic.
Amazing. And of course, the difficult question: price. How much is this going to retail for?
Well, it's not far off what the Braille Note Touch Plus was. Now, I will state that the Braille Note Touch Plus has been repositioned, by the way. I don't know if you know that. It was repositioned as a My First Note Taker. So the idea is, we understand that the Android environment is old, but we still believe that the KeySoft, the value of KeySoft is there for many, many young students. And so the price has also reflected that, and that has been dropped in price. So what was £5,000 on the Braille Note Touch Plus, I believe, is now about £2,999. Now, on the Braille Note Evolve side, the price will be around about £5,495, so £5,495.
Okay. And there's different models coming out, as you mentioned. One with a QWERTY will be released later on in the cycle.
The QWERTY one, yes, that will be a 40-cell display as well.
Okay. Andrew, that's amazing. As I mentioned, everyone was very excited by this news. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Shaun.
Really cool news there from HumanWare, announcing this new Windows Braille note taker. And it's got QWERTY! Hurrah! I'm over the moon.
So excited, aren't you, Stephen Scott? Have you registered your interest?
I absolutely have, with Andrew directly. Of course I've registered my interest. I mean, look, this is kind of what a lot of us have been looking for a very long time, and we thought we would see it with Optima, the Braille display laptop that was due to come out, but of course there had been many, many issues. Now, Adi Kushner, we did catch up with him at Site Village last week, and he did tell us that, you know, the project is still ongoing. There's no end in sight for that project. It is definitely still coming. We just don't have a date yet. But, you know, HumanWare have kind of jumped in here. They've got ahead. In particular, I think what they're trying to do is update that Braille Note Touch line using Windows, which I think makes a heck of a lot of sense.
Yeah, some of the main criticisms are over the age of Android that they were using. So absolutely, it makes sense. And of course, what Andrew was saying there about, you know, people use Windows everywhere else, you know, when it comes to employment especially. So it makes sense to try and merge the two, right? Why would you keep it separate? So yeah, and as I said, the device was, I'm going to say it, Stephen Scott, sexy.
It was
a sexy device. Mm-hmm. I can't believe I'm saying that, but it was very nice.
Yeah, it had beautiful pins. And, you know, I will say, you know, I think there's another thing that I can tell you, because I was asking this question as well at the time, which was, you know, will the new, I call it the Mantis, but it's not the Mantis. What is it, the Evolve? Is that what they're calling it, the Evolve?
The Evolve, yeah.
So the Evolve, will the QWERTY version have an insert key? Now, I know I'll get shouted down by so many people for asking this question, but for those of us out there who cling on to our insert keys, yes, it will have an insert key, and it will come in different keyboard layouts as well for different regions, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that's going to be coming. Now look, this is going to evolve over the next year. CSUN first, you'll get the chance to get hands on there, and then I imagine it will be showing up at the various NFB and ACB conventions as the year goes on, and then into the year we should be learning about the QWERTY version. That's still to come, but I think that's going to be, what, second half of 2026 by the sounds of it? But that's kind of cool, though, that they're bringing out a 20-cell version with the Perkins keys and a 32-cell version. That's a really portable little computer. I mean, that's nice. And the specs sound good as well.
Yeah, now we saw was it the 32-cell version? So I'm wondering if the 20-cell version would be any smaller or it's going to be the same size anyway. Obviously, the QWERTY is a 40-cell, so that's going to be larger, I'm assuming.
They do have a form factor for this, though, with the BI-20X. So the BI-20X Braille display they have, which is 20-cell, far more portable. That could be a really nice little device, actually. Imagine that. I mean, it's kind of getting into that area of the BT Speak, right? And where they've gone there with the BT Speak.
True.
They've got Linux running on that. But, this could be a really nice little note taker. Well, I say note taker. I mean, a Windows computer, really, with that Braille display and Perkins input, or QWERTY down the line with the 40-cell.
And the hardware specs, are you happy with that? 32 gig is very generous.
32 gig. What they were saying is an Intel Core Ultra i5 or 5, I think they call it now. They've dropped the i.
Yeah, and we all. The specs are very are more than adequate, right? Yeah. And obviously we'll have to see when you actually use it, but the specs are quite nice. The thing with the Optima was that it was upgradable. It was based on the framework modular design, so you could swap things out. You could update the processor and the RAM. Obviously, you're not going to be able to do that with this, but still, I think the specs that you're starting with, very nice. Yeah,
it doesn't feel like you're starting off at a disadvantage, which I have to say I think we always felt that when it came to these Android devices. Yeah.
You're paying top dollar, and you feel like you're getting hardware from 4 generations ago. Yeah. It doesn't feel like that with this one.
It's difficult though to keep up, isn't it? With assistive tech companies, you're having to put all that R&D into it, all that energy. Yeah. You're coming up with that price, which you're trying to make it as fair as possible. I mean, it seems extremely expensive when you think about it. Again, Canadian pricing, US pricing still to be announced. All of that will come out at CSUN next year, I have no doubt. But just keep listening to Double Tap. We'll bring you all the news about that. But I've got to say, that was a highlight for me. I think that's going to go down as the highlight for 2025 for me, coming out of HumanWare.
Really?
Yeah, I think this is big news. I think it's going to be really popular.
I wasn't exaggerating. There was a bit of a buzz about this at Site Village. People were excited. And it's all about Windows, because as we know, Windows is great.
It's the best. Mac, you're so yesterday. Right, okay, let's move on and talk about Microsoft. Again, Microsoft Ignite, MS Ignite, which is an event that happens every year, and it kind of showcases lots of cool new developer tools and lots of cool things. I wasn't really interested in any of that. I was more interested in one particular thing, and that was new Narrator HD voices. Now, we've had these new Narrator voices for a while. They're brilliant. We call them the cloud voices, don't we? I think that's the official term.
Is it?
I think that's what they call them. But they're really nice, really clear voices on Narrator. Yeah, really nice. But they've got better. Let's listen into a little bit of the conference that is where Jenny LeFleury, the Chief Accessibility Officer at Microsoft, showed off the new Narrator HD voices.
New natural voices coming into Narrator, which is a screen reader built into Windows that is predominantly used by blind.
Current experience.
AI voice generators use neural text-to-speech, NTTS, systems powered by deep learning. These models are trained on massive data sets of human speech and learn to replicate pitch and tone, rhythm, and pacing.
New experience, natural HD voices.
Modern AI voice generators use neural text-to-speech, NTTS, systems powered by deep learning. These models are trained on massive datasets of human speech and learn to replicate pitch and tone, rhythm and pacing, natural pauses and emphasis.
Hear the difference? Quite different, right? The whole theory here is that by promoting natural voices, it will make it easier and more productive for blind people, no matter what their use case may be.
So that's a little sample there of one of the new voices. What were your first thoughts on that one, Shaun?
Just sounds great, like the other ones do anyway. I always struggle slightly to hear, when people mention that the TTS is more expressive. Sometimes I think, is it really? But I just love the Microsoft natural voices. I think they sound amazing. I just wish they would make them system wide.
Yeah.
So I could use them with whatever screen reader. Right now it is locked down to Narrator. Also available as the immersive reader in Edge as well. So it's great for reading articles, reading emails. I quite often switch back to Narrator just to have that really nice voice if I'm, reading an article. So yeah, I love them. I think they're great.
I'm still using, is it Libby? I think it's called, one of the Blast Bay voices.
Blast Bay? Are you really?
Yeah, that's my NVDA voice of choice. Obviously on JAWS it's Eloquence. Obviously.
Obviously.
I mean, it has to be, right? That's the rule.
Apparently so, yeah. I'm using Teklo Tifnia, or whatever it's called now. It used to be called the Vocalizer NVDA voice.
Yeah, that was a great idea, changing that name. That was a really great name choice.
Tiflin, yeah, it's perfect.
Tiffin, something or other.
But the voices are great. So, okay. Yeah, it's surprising. We still get excited about voices.
I know.
Right? But it's the way we interact. And sometimes you just go, I just want to change.
Well, I think there's a lot of people who've used screen readers for years who will say, oh, no, I don't want that. I want something that can go at high speed. I want something that can be understandable at high speed. And oftentimes these natural voices can't do that. But I think we have to think here about what this is for, who this is for. I think, let's be honest about it, Narrator is probably the screen reader where people are starting out most. They're probably not diving into...
Very true.
We're not getting to the place where, they're going to be, running Excel spreadsheets and, reading 3,000-page books. I don't think that's the case for the people who are probably getting into screen readers for the first time, testing out something like Narrator, getting used to the layout of the computer. That kind of voice makes it a much nicer way to guide you around the system rather than something like Eloquence barking at you that can feel quite alienating at the start. I remember listening to people who would have their screen reader up at 80%, 85%, and I would think to myself, I'll never achieve that. I'll never get to that stage. Now, the reality is I did get to that stage because I'm now at the stage where I'm using the computer. I need the voice to be as fast as possible to keep up with what I'm doing. But that takes time. That took me about 5 years to get to that and to get comfortable with that. So for a lot of people starting out, you've got to have an option, and I think that this is a good way of doing it.
Well, as I said as well, it's all about use case. Sometimes I'd want that. If I'm in an environment I'm familiar with and I'm listening out to a specific element, an item that I know, okay, I'm just tabbing through here. It's obviously I'm using it different high speed, but if I want to listen to something in a pleasant way, then I will use one of these voices.
Yeah, cool new voices.
Please, just open it up.
Not coming out yet. I mean, they are going to be in the preview build. So I think if you are in the beta or whatever they call it, the canary in the coal mine or whatever they call it?
Yeah.
Insider. That's it. Insider, not the canary. What did I say there?
I have no idea. Insider
the
build,
Insider edition thing or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Was that a TV show at one point? Anyway, it's going to be in there. So, it will roll through to an update very, very soon. But I think we're probably a couple of months away from seeing that in action on our machines. But certainly if you're ahead of the game, you'll get a chance to play with it. Pretty cool. Be My Eyes, big news for them. They're a finalist in Apple's App Store Awards. I know you think this is a common thing. We were talking about this before, and you think this happens every year, but I think you're thinking of the golden apples from AppleVis, which
from AppleVis,
Be My Eyes does come up in quite a lot for good reason. But to be selected as a finalist in this way is big news, right? Because it shows how this app is being universally accepted by so many people. I mean, you think of the number of people who are involved with Be My Eyes in the sense of the volunteers who give their time, which is a much bigger number than the blind people using it, which is always interesting to me. More people need to access it.
The volunteers are always so excited because sometimes I'll ask, so how many calls have you taken? This is my first one. This is my first one. Because, I think the last time I looked it up, it was 500,000 blind users.
Still a lot of people, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, like 5 million volunteers. It's probably lots more than that now, but it's very impressive. And this can't do anything else other than promote Be My Eyes as well. I mean, this is great for them because there's 45 finalists in the Apple categories. There's 12 categories, 45 finalists. And this gets talked about everywhere, not just in our community. This gets talked about in the mainstream. So this pushes Be My Eyes and the others as well. Art of Fauna's in there and a few others. This pushes them into the limelight. And, obviously, it's going to pick up users and subscribers from this. So, yeah, very good. Sorry, not subscribers, volunteers from this. So can do nothing but good things. Well done, Be My Eyes.
I did catch up with Mike Buckley to actually just get a clip of him reacting to this news. That's really what I was looking for. And in the end, we had a 30-minute conversation where we dived into everything you could think of around AI and efficacy and all kinds of stuff. So we'll play that interview later in the week, and we'll give you a chance to hear that, because I thought it was a rather interesting conversation that we ended up having. A real, grab a coffee and let's talk kind of chat.
Did you lull him into a full sense of security?
I didn't even. I think some of the best conversations happen when you don't intend them to go that way.
Yeah,
I kind of like those conversations. It was never intended to be that. So, both of us were quite chilled and relaxed, and one of us will end up fired at the end of it, I'm sure. But
yeah,
and it won't be Mike. Just to be clear.
Relax, Mike. You're fine.
You're fine. You're all right. I'll be cancelled. But it's an interesting chat. We'll get into that later. But here's a little clip of that interview where Mike reacts to this news.
It's exciting, man. It makes me happy for the team. It makes me happy for the community of blind and low vision. Just it's another form of recognition there as well, I think, Stephen. You know about this, like our ethos is with, not for. And so that part of it makes me really happy.
Yeah, amazing news, and more of that interview to come on, at some point this week. We'll get the interview on. I think we're going to put it on Wednesday. I should say as well, we're going to talk about Sight Village a bit later. We did get the chance to go to Sight Village London, which was a wonderful experience, again this time around. And we got a chance to learn about a lot of different types of technology that we don't often get the chance to talk about, low vision tech in particular. We were taken there with the good people of Sight and Sound Technology. We're going to be featuring that as a special episode coming up this coming Friday. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Lots of interesting tech from the world of low vision. And not just that, but also teaching people about vision as well. A product called Eyes Reality. That we have featured on the show before, but we speak to someone who actually goes out there and trains people to use this product. I've often said I'm never quite keen on the idea of simulation glasses because they can often give a false impression of what is going on out there in terms of, the experience of vision loss. But these glasses try to solve some of those issues, try to get over some of those hurdles by not just giving you here's an example of glaucoma, bang, put these glasses on.
Scary, isn't it?
Yeah, this is terrifying. It's trying to give you more of a sense of what that journey towards a sight condition is like. So very interesting. We'll talk about that on our special episode, Sight and Sound Technology, bringing us to Sight Village London. We'll bring you that on Friday. Meanwhile, if you want to get involved with the show, here's how.
Get in touch with Double Tap. Email feedback@doubletaponair.com. Leave us a voicemail at 1-877-803-4567. And now you can send an audio or video message to us on WhatsApp. That number is 1-613-481-0144.
Couple of quick stories to get to, and I want to talk about Amazon and Lady A+, which has made its way to Canada. It was officially turned on in Canada on Thursday of last week, and we get the chance to hear from Alison Saperco from Amazon to tell us all about what AI and accessibility can do to help blind and low vision people and other disabled people as well through Lady A+.
Voice has just opened up this opportunity, and it's such a great fit for people that have accessibility concerns, or even my parents who are getting older. I think like Alexa has provided a lot of value for that generation as well. So all of the accessibility features that were available in original Alexa will be available in Alexa Plus. So that will not change. For me, I think this improved conversational ability is also going to help because it's just easier to use. Again, you don't have, so my example about voice routines, you don't have to pull out the app and set it up yourself. You can do it by a voice. So I think it really opens up that opportunity to not have to be so specific and understand the technology as well. The other feature that's really cool is called SightWise. So if you have, I used it in my household. A babysitter had given my kids some snacks and I didn't know what they were. You can hold up like a wrapper to the camera. If you open the camera on your Echo Show and you say, "Hey, Alexa, what is this? Where can I buy it?" She could recognize the packaging. She pulled it up on Amazon.ca and then I could order it. which is really cool. So, someone could do it if they had, vision loss. They could, what is this, or what are the ingredients on this? What's the brand? It's one of my favorite features. I think it's so cool. And you can also do it for like a plant. You can hold up a plant and say like, what type of plant is this? How often do I need to water it? So she's like smarter. She's smarter, and she is like helping you figure out things in your household.
So that is Alison there from Amazon telling us all about this cool new feature. We are going to be looking forward to your experiences because we haven't got it here in the UK yet. So do tell us your experiences of using Lady A+. How are you using it? What are you thinking about it? Very, very interesting. Let's move on. Aira are launching a retail therapy giveaway competition. I'm all in. I love a good competition, especially where prizes are given. Janine Stanley is joining us from Aira to tell us all about it. Aira, Janine, welcome to the show.
Hi. Happy to be here.
Do you know what's funny, right? I have to say this, right? When we talk to Janine off air before she comes on, she's so bouncy and happy and giggly. And then as soon as you say, welcome to the show, everyone just seizes up, don't they?
Now.
We're live now. Just disappears.
Yes,
come on, Janine.
Exactly.
Right, Janine, we're going to try that again, all right? Janine, welcome back to Double Tap.
Thank you so much, Stephen and Shaun. I am so happy to be here.
That's nice. That felt genuine. That felt nice. How many coffees have you had this morning?
I have had about half of one.
Oh, that's
There's
not
a
enough.
Lovely pumpkin spice cappuccino.
Oh,
here.
no, sorry. No. Terrible. Can't be doing that.
So American.
Well, that's okay. I'll have a nice strong one with just cream in it later. So
cream? Yeah. I mean, I don't get this. What is it? And what is this half and half? What does that mean?
Well, you don't want it to taste like coffee. You see, that's the whole American thing.
You don't want your coffee to taste like coffee?
No, you don't want it to taste like coffee, no.
Well, drink tea then.
Yeah.
Well, I do. Actually, actually, I do drink tea, Shaun.
That is an absolute fact. Well done, Shaun.
That's right. I take my caffeine any way I can get it.
Yeah. Listen, I'd take it on injection if they could give it to me that way. Trust me.
Yes, exactly.
But listen, let's talk about why you're here. Aira having a big contest. A couple of things going on, actually. But the contest first. Tell us about that.
So it is called retail therapy, which we all need this time of year. I don't care what you say. Everybody needs retail therapy. And this contest will run from the 22nd of November all the way through December 2nd. And if you use our service at any of our access partners that are in the retail space, you will be entered into this giveaway. And that means, for those of you who are not in the United States, that means Walmart.com. So if you can't find anything else on that list that works for you, Walmart.com will work. So you get one entry per day at the store and as many entries as you want online, as many times as you need to visit that online space, plus entries for your social media mentions. And all of that is in our newsroom. You can find the post in our newsroom. So enter, you can win gift cards, you can win Aira t-shirts, and if the gift card doesn't work, you can win Aira minutes. But the grand prize, Stephen, is the Navi Pal.
Hang on, I was going to do my thing.
No, wait.
You ruined it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
One coffee in. There's not enough coffee around here. That's the problem.
No, there is not.
Not prepared.
No.
Not prepared.
Okay.
Navi Pal's cool. I bought my Navi Pal. Yeah. So needless to say, I won't be entering for that particular prize. But it's so good. It's such a cool little device just to have your phone in.
What is it?
I told you about it last week. You don't listen.
Yeah, that was last week. I've forgotten. What is it?
Oh, Shaun, this is the device that will save the world for blind people. Okay? It is the ultimate neck pouch.
Drum roll.
Hang on a second.
Drum roll. See, I am not being paid by Fieldom to advertise
Save the world.
this. However, I do love this thing. It's the ultimate neck pouch. So it fits. You can zip your phone into it, keeps your phone secure, so nobody's going to rip that off of you. And it was designed by Mike May. And everybody knows who Mike. Yeah, everybody knows who Mike is. He worked with the people at. Yeah, he worked with the people at Fieldom to design this thing, and it's great. Aira, we love the thing, so makes it easy to use our service.
I'm almost certain you didn't spot this story, Janine, on your travels, but I did see a rather amusing story, kind of unfunny, but also funny at the same time, where thieves in London who steal smartphones apparently are telling people now, don't bother. If you've got a Samsung, you can hold it out in front of you as much as you like. We don't want that. We want iPhones. So thieves are being quite picky about what their choice of smartphone is. They don't want Android.
I see. So, we're just going to get a sticker for the front of your Navi Pal that says Samsung enclosed.
Contains an Android, yeah.
Yes, contains an Android. Oh, dear.
Samsung inside. So when you say you will be entered into a draw to win one of these fantastic prizes, you mean if someone makes an Aira call at one of the retail partners?
Yes.
And they're entered straight away.
Yep.
And when you say using Walmart.com for international listeners and viewers, you mean if they're using the Aira service on their desktop or?
Either way, on your phone, on your desktop, however you access Walmart.com, does not matter.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, it's a great contest, great chance for people to win prizes. Now, speaking of prizes, you have even bigger prizes.
Even bigger prizes. And this is for our annual Explorer survey. So every year since, a little after we started, we have done a customer survey. And it takes about 15 minutes or so. So it's a pretty comprehensive survey. That will be starting on December 1st. So watch your email, watch your in-app messaging, all that good stuff everywhere that you can find messaging about Aira. And we will get you to the survey. Entering the survey gets you a chance to win big prizes. $250 gift card is our top prize. And then we've got, I believe, 5 $50 gift cards. So good incentive to fill out that survey and make your needs known. This year, we're asking a lot about AI. So a little bit different from last year, but we want to know, and this actually helps our engineers plot out what we're going to do next and the way that people want things to go. So please, when you see that call for the survey, it's going to go through December 1st through the 14th.
Very good. And you mentioned sorry to go back to the retail partners, but I like shopping, as you said. Where can people find a list of all your partners?
The list can be found at aira.io/our-partners. So aira.io/our-partners. And go down to the retail area and you will find them. And we also list them in the newsroom post about the contest. So they're all listed there. You can check them out. And we will be... I just lost my train of thought. Sorry. You can...
That's okay.
Well, that last part.
Again, have that other half a coffee while we think about this.
I really should.
You carry on there, Junie. But here's the thing. Talking of the survey, I want to mention this as well. I think it's really important. I've said this many times on the show, and I remember we talked about it. I got a little bit passionate about it when we talked about the WebAIM survey a while back, and I saw the number of people who'd actually responded to it, and I thought, really, there's more of us out there who need to be filling these things in. We need to be taking the time, because you can't complain about a service or complain about something and then do nothing about it at all.
Yes.
Well, no, I know you like to.
I've been doing it wrong.
And don't get me wrong, I've been doing it that way for many years. But I have a radio show I can scream about it on, which is great. But not everyone has that. And I think there are times when we do need to step up a little bit, take the 15, 20 minutes and fill this out. So I'll be doing it irrespective of whether I win a prize or not.
Good.
I think it's really important to do because, I'm a huge fan. I use the service every day or near enough every day. So, if there's things that can be done to improve it, and we can help by adding our voice, then that's something we should all do.
Absolutely. And any of these surveys, I know it's a pain. The ones that I hate are, how did we do? But again, if you've got a complaint especially, that's the time to put it in there, because otherwise the business or whoever doesn't realize that something bad happened. Because certainly the technician is not going to tell them. I just had a bunch of home repairs done. And so I have endless surveys, but they are important. And the WebAIM survey is incredibly important, folks. So please fill that out when that comes around.
Can I also ask you as well, because I know whenever I finish an Aira call, I don't always have the time to do it, but there are times where I'll have a moment or two and I will fill out the little form at the end when it comes up at the end of the call saying, how did the agent do?
Yep.
How was your experience? You're quite keen, because I think you believe, we've talked about this before, you believe that a lot of people will generally just hit excellent or great and move on, and they don't tend to say too much beyond that. You actually quite encourage the opposite. Like, no, tell us exactly how it went down for you.
Tell us. You're not going to get your visual interpreter in trouble. No, don't worry about that. Your participation, your input is anonymous. What we're going to do is use that to coach the person to do better. So don't mark excellent and then go on social media and say, this was terrible. I can't believe this happened, which people do, and will admit to. And I think it's all expedience. We're in a hurry and whatnot, but you can always come back. If you don't have time to rate it, you can always come back to the usage tab down at the bottom of the screen. You can go in there, you can go to call history, and you can look at your unrated calls. Now, my problem is I can't remember what the heck I did during the call. So, was it good? I don't remember. So, we're working on that a little bit to try to maybe put, like we do with Access AI, when you can look at your chat history, it's got a little kind of subject that summarizes what that chat was about. So, much easier. So hopefully we can get that into the call history at some point too. Fill out the survey. Tell us that.
Yeah.
Anything happening at Aira coming soon? Can you give us any exclusives?
Well, golly gee, it's not so much an exclusive, but for you all, are we ready to talk buses?
Oh, I love a bus.
Oh, no.
I know you do.
I like a bus.
You do. So you can travel to Surrey now, actually, and once you're there, you can use their bus system with Aira, because we've expanded that project to 12 more bus stations in, is it a county over there? Or it's the Surrey County Transit Authority, I think, or transit provider, whatever.
Let's go with that.
The actual name of it is in the announcement, but all of the bus stations that we have expanded to are in our announcement. You can find those at aira.io/newsroom, and you can go down the stories and see the one about Surrey. Got a lot of nice press coverage out of that. So those of you who are in Surrey, what part of the country is that in, by the way?
England.
That's down south in England.
Wow.
It's on planet Earth, I believe.
On Earth. Wow.
Yeah. I'm almost 100% certain on that.
Very good. Wow.
I think you hit the wrong button there, Stephen. Yes. If you're in the UK and you like your buses, this is great news.
Sorry, my microphone was muting there. I was being silenced again.
No.
I think Mr. F is pressing the buttons in here secretly. But that's cool. Now, just for people who are still kind of new to this in some way, or maybe don't fully understand it, how does that partnership help someone who's getting on a bus in Surrey, wherever that is?
Well, let's say you are going to the station and you know that you need the bus to go to wherever, and there's nothing to tell you. There might be signage to tell you where to stand, but do you know when the bus is coming in? Do you know if things have changed? Is it difficult to get around the station because it's really loud? Something like that. You can call Aira. We are happy to help you, and that all gets paid for by the Surrey Transit folks. And so you can navigate that station. You can make bus to rail transfers. That was a big thing in the announcement, was bus to rail transfers, which just makes me salivate, because the only place I've been in this country where that happens is Long Island, where you can go from bus to rail. But so these are all things that can encourage you to get out there and actually use the bus system, because I know that human assistance is kind of,
Yeah. Well, there you go. That is Janine Stanley talking to us there, all about an amazing competition, and also some big news as well for residents of Surrey who want to use their buses. Shaun Preece, will you ever use a bus?
Yes, in Surrey. Do you know what it is, though? Buses, the reason I don't use buses is because I've never had a particularly good experience, because I can never find which bus to get, especially in a bus station and places like that. Everything Janine mentioned there, the noise, the busyness of it, not knowing where to stand, what bus comes in where, is exactly the reason I don't use them. But, with this partnership, it frees it all up. So, yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, well, Aira.io is the place to go for all the news on the competition and also that news of the new Surrey service in England as well. That's almost it for us for today, but I have to say, what a busy show it's been. Some amazing news to get through. Lots of cool stuff going on. I am really keen to hear what people make of Lady A Plus, because I'm hearing some mixed reviews in the early stages of people using it and finding it really useful in some ways, not particularly useful in others. But I really want to hear that blind perspective on it. What are you using it for? How are you finding it useful? Or is it just a case of it's smart enough to know, to turn your lights on and off when you want? Can you set those routines that you want just by voice? I'm intrigued to know how it all works because, like I said, we don't have it, so I'm jealous.
Yeah, please get in touch. Let us know.
And of course, your thoughts as well on the HumanWare Braille Evolve device that is going to be coming out next year. Windows comes to HumanWare Braille Notes. That's pretty cool. We'll get into all that and your feedback on the next Double Tap. Thank you, Shaun.
Thank you. Bye-bye.